Hi guys, so I wanted to come and do my labor and delivery story with you guys today. I gave birth to a beautiful healthy baby girl on April the 23rd at 1:01 in the morning. She was 5 pounds 13 ounces, 18 inches long. And I just wanted to come and share this with you guys, me being a first time mom and my first time ever going through anything like this. So, I just wanted to come and share, especially since I didn't get to keep up with my pregnancy update videos. But yeah, so my baby shower was on the 18th of April, the Saturday, and after the baby shower, I started feeling cramps, like on and off cramps. Not very like consistent, but like every couple hours I'd get like a feeling like menstrual cramps. And so I started wondering if I was gonna have her a little early, because my due date is actually tomorrow, the Saturday May 2nd. And yeah, I started wondering if she was gonna come early. I'm like, please don't, because I'm in college and I had finals, so like her due date was pretty close to my final time. And so fast forward to Wednesday, I had a final that morning and I kept feeling like I had, I guess, discharge, and what it turned out to be was that I was losing my mucus plug, and I had, it just kept flowing. I'm just like, this is where I'm like, oh gosh, I guess it's coming close to that time. My mom kept saying, yeah, we need to start getting stuff ready because you're gonna have this baby soon. And my mom, for some reason, she always seems to know these stuff. Like, she's always right. It's just really uncanny. And so that day after I took my final and I passed, we got home and we started setting up her bassinet. We set up the car seat, we set up her stroller, stuff like that. And my mom was washing her clothes and stuff, and I was laying down in the bed typing up my my birth plan. And I felt hungry, so I got up and I went to the kitchen to go make something to eat. And I'm walking away from the stove, and all of a sudden there's a big gush. There was like a pop and then a gush, and I'm like, oh my god, I think my water just broke. And so I ran to the bathroom to go check, and there was a whole bunch of liquid, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's time. Like a lunatic, my mom's out in the back. Caribbean parents, we hang up clothes on the line. She's out on the back hanging up baby clothes on the line, and I'm running out, mom, I was like, my water broke. And she's like, oh my gosh, and she's like freaking out. And there's a lady walking to the door, and I'm going to be right back. Okay, the lady is picking stuff off of my tree. Interesting. Anyways, let her be. So my mom comes and she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. And then she checked and she's like, yep, your water broke. I had to call my friend who is her godmother, and she came, and I was there freaking out. I always said I was gonna have my makeup done and everything look nice for when I'm going into the hospital, but none of it went planned. I was supposed to have my hair braided in a protective style, which you can see it's not. And like, nothing went the way it was supposed to go. But I had to pack my bag because my bag wasn't packed. Her bag wasn't packed. And I'm there hurrying up, packing stuff and everything. And so we leave for the hospital. Well, my friend comes and she's jamming to reggae music, typical Caribbean people. And I'm in the back seat of the car waiting for my people. All my family that lives in the house, they're like watching, they're all excited now. And so I'm in the back just listening to my Bob Marley and stuff, singing my music. Everybody's like, really? Your water just broke? You're really chill. I'm like, yeah, So we leave for the hospital. Oh, by the way, my water broke at 4 p.m. And so my friend didn't get there until probably like 5 something, not gonna lie. Like, it took her a minute to get here, but oh well. And so we were driving to the hospital. We got there and we went to outpatient, and we were talking. We already registered, but for some reason it took a long time anyways, and they basically sent me to the waiting room, and I sat in that waiting room and I spent the majority of my labor in that waiting room because for some reason that night everybody wanted to have a baby. All the delivery rooms were full and it was just ridiculous. As soon as one room was empty, another room was filled. There were that many women having babies that night. So I was there and my contractions were coming, and then like the dad was there. He came with his friend, and it was me, her dad, her dad's friend, my best friend, and we were just there in the waiting room, and I'm just having contractions. My mom's trying to time them, and they were just getting closer and closer together, and it just felt like really strong menstrual cramps. And I have really bad periods, like nausea, all that stuff, weakness, and then I tend to be low in iron and stuff as well. So I'm just like, oh, this is like really bad. It was like menstrual cramps on crack. And so I went to I was there. They finally came and got me at 9 o'clock, and I was really upset because I am beta strep positive, and so I'm supposed to be on antibiotics so that nothing happens to the baby as soon as my water breaks, and they did not give me antibiotics. I was just sitting in that waiting room, and it was just ridiculous. And another thing that really pissed me off was that people were trying to judge how much, like, if I was really in labor or not by how much, like, I was screaming. I'm not a screamer. I do not make noise when I'm in pain. I'm not one of those people who is like, whoa, and going on, you know? I'm just gonna take it as it is, and like, I'm in pain, trust me. I'm just not screaming. I'm not a screamer. And so another lady who was in there, she was having her 4th kid, and she was just wailing down the entire room, and she's cussing and going on, and her mom's like, oh, you don't even look like you're in pain. She's like, oh, you're probably not even dilated yet. I'm like, really? Well, I mean, I was 2 centimeters dilated when my doctor checked me that Monday, so, you know, I'm pretty sure I'm dilated. But yeah, there was a lady having her 4th kid, and she was in there screaming down the entire place, and she was just cussing, and she was saying how this hospital was terrible, and how she was supposed to have the baby before, and this and that, and they sent her home, and that they don't care about anybody, and she was just basically like making me feel like, oh God, like, what am I getting myself into? But like, she was just, honestly, I don't know, I just felt like she was really over dramatic. She said the nurses were rude and everything, but it was complete opposite for me. So I think she's just really a bit of a witch, you know what I mean, like a witchy personality. So yeah, but yeah, when they finally admitted me at 9, I finally went into a room, everything, they checked me, and I was 6 centimeters dilated. So much for that lady saying that I probably wasn't dilated at all. Yeah, because I know my body. And so I'm there laying, and they set me up. They set up so that you could hear the baby's heartbeat, and then they also set up so that they could track my contractions. And I'm there having contractions. My mom's in the room with me, and oh my gosh, why does the camera do this? It's like the screen is shaking. I'm sorry, you guys, but please ignore the shaking. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it right now. But yeah, they were tracking my contractions, and they were coming 2 minutes apart, and they kept checking. Probably an hour later, I was 7 centimeters dilated, and they're like, oh, you're doing really well. And like, a nurse came in, another nurse, and she happened to be Jamaican too. She was like, "Oh, did you get an epidural?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Really? And you sit down so calm?" I'm like, I mean, I'm in pain, I'm just not screaming. And so there, and I never got to print out my birth plan and everything, so the nurse asked me, she's like, "Oh, just tell me what you had in mind for your birth plan, we'll try to make it happen." And I let her know I wanted skin to skin, and that I didn't want them to take the baby away, I wanted the baby with me. And they I also asked about music, which we ended up playing Pandora on my mom's phone, and we were listening to reggae music and we were singing. And it was just crazy because the nurse, she knew the song and everything. She was the sweetest lady ever. And we were just there singing and listening to music and stuff while I'm having contractions and stuff. I'm just trying to use that to basically block all the pain out of my head. And it was just crazy. And then, like, probably like an hour or so, I started getting nauseous, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just felt weak and I felt nauseous, and it was just crazy. I'm like, yeah, this definitely feels like I'm on my menstrual cycle. And like, I told the nurse I was nauseous. My mom had to come over with a little pan just in case, and of course I did throw up. I was like, I really didn't want to throw up. I tried my hardest not to, but that pain made me nauseous and made me throw up. So I ended up throwing up, and she's like, "Oh, that means that it's probably getting closer to the time you're probably almost pretty fully dilated. It's like that transition phase, and like nausea is pretty common." So I'm like, okay. She checks me. She's like, "Honey, you're doing fantastic. You are 9 centimeters dilated. We're gonna get ready to call the doctor now." I'm like, oh crap, it's about to go down. So they called the doctor and everything, and they're just waiting. She's like, "Okay, so we're gonna try to do no, I was fully dilated when she checked me again, and she said, "Okay, we're gonna try to do some practice pushes and see if we can see if you get the idea." She's like, "You're gonna have to push like you're having a bowel movement." I'm like, oh gosh. And she's like, I'm like, oh gosh, I hope I don't have a bowel movement. She's like, "Well, it's okay if you do, it's natural." I'm like, well, I don't want to have a bowel movement. So she's like, "Okay, so you're gonna try to practice, you're gonna try to push like you're going for a bowel movement." So she's like, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, I pushed. And she's like, "Whoa, okay." She's like, "That was a really good push." She's like, "Okay, we're gonna stop practicing now because you just brought her down a little bit. We're just gonna wait a little until the doctor comes and gets here, and then we'll get started." And so doctor comes in, and then all of a sudden a couple other nurses come in. I'm like, whoa, where are all these people coming from? And my friend and the dad had left to go get food, and so my friend happened to come in just in time as it was time for me to push, and it was just like perfect timing. The dad was downstairs and he was scared to come up. But yeah, they put me in the stirrups, had my legs up, and they're like, "You're gonna pull your legs when you're pushing, you're gonna pull your legs towards you, and you're gonna push like you're having a bowel movement." So they start, and I go to pushing, and the doctor's helping, and I'm like, it's so uncomfortable. Like, it was like ridiculous. Keep in mind, I didn't have an epidural, I didn't take any medication, this is all natural right now. I'm like freaking out, but I'm like, all I did was focus on the baby. I'm like, I'm just focusing on her. I can't wait to meet her. And so they're like, push. I pushed, and I pushed 4 times. I pushed 4 times, and she was out, and they put her on top of me, skin to skin, and I got so emotional. I actually started boohoo crying, and I just kept saying her name, and I'm just like, she was the most beautiful thing ever. Like, I had never been that emotional in my life. Like, I instantly fell in love with her. Her dad came in right after I delivered her, and he was just there in the background, and he was crying. Like, he literally was, it wasn't like little tears, like he was flooding, like his face was flooding. He was boo-hoo crying, and I was crying. My mom was emotional. Everybody was pretty emotional. And she came out, as soon as she came out, she started crying. Like, she was just, the most beautiful thing. And you know, they got her cleaned up and everything. So I had her at 1:01 in the morning, Thursday morning on the 23rd of April. And guys, I am in love with this little girl. Like, she is so adorable and she's so feisty. My mom says she's just like me. But yeah, I just wanted to come and share this, guys. And I'm gonna let you meet her. So I'm gonna go get her and I will be right back. So, hi guys. So she's asleep right now. But this is my Ava. Let me see. Oh boy. Let me try to get you. See her? My baby girl. She is knocked out. But yeah, this is Ava. 5 pounds, 13 ounces is how much she was when she was born. And I'm going to post some pictures of her as well in the video. Because I know, you know, she's not really awake right now. She's like knocked out. But yeah, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. And it's funny because she's sleeping right now. Usually she doesn't sleep this much, and usually she's terrorizing me. But I thank you guys for watching the video, and I will see you guys again soon with another video. I'm finally going to start, you know, trying to be more active on YouTube again. But, you know, that's going to be hard, especially with a newborn baby. But I'm going to try for you guys. And, yeah, I'll see you again soon. Bye.